Good morning, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Thanks for being here. I'm here with another live. It's me, Ari Dossett, and call me Rashid. I'm an anthropologist and sociologist. Hit the like button, share this live stream, subscribe to the channel, become a member of the channel, and don't forget, donate the links below, please. Thank you very much. All right. The topic of this live stream, as you can read in the title, one of the biggest lies ever told. Now, there are many big lies out there in the world because the world operates in deception. This current world I'm talking about. The world system operates in deception. So, of course, lies are the norm in the world. You have small lies and you have big lies. Now, I'm going to address one of the lies that we were taught. Well, if you weren't taught this, then you're a very rare exception because this is a lie everyone unconsciously has been taught by society. Even many believers deep down inside believe this lie while they shouldn't. Before I say what the lie is, I'm going to give you two parables. And before I do those two parables, I want to ask you one question. Can you all hear me clearly? Let me know in the live chat, please. Let me know if you all can hear me clearly, please. Thank you. Again, if you're driving, please pay attention to the roads. Thank you very much. All right, you can hear me clearly. That's good. So, okay. Jack buys a Lexus. Okay? So, for those who know what a Lexus is, it's one of those luxurious cars. Okay? So, okay, let me share my screen with you. Yeah. Jack buys a Lexus, a fancy car. He doesn't lease, he buys it. It's his now. He paid the money all at once at a dealership. He has the car. His first two times driving, he was so excited. Look at my new Lexus, man. He was showing off his Lexus. First two rides through town. And a lot of people saw him with his new Lexus, thought, whoa, Jack has a new Lexus. But then, 2 weeks later, nobody saw Jack driving that Lexus anymore. So people began to ask, what happened with the new car, the new Lexus that Jack bought? Then one day, some school children see an abandoned car near a highway, and it's a Lexus. So the school children make pictures of it, share on social media, and then some people in the neighborhood ask themselves, isn't that the Lexus that Jack bought 2 weeks ago? How come we see it abandoned near the highway right now? Hold on, that license isn't that the same license plate as the license plate of Jack? They checked the license plate. Yes, the same license plate. So first, everyone thought, whoa, someone stole Jack's Lexus. We need to talk to Jack about this. Because in their mind, Lexus paid a lot of money for this car. He was showing off throughout town his new Lexus and with a happy face. And 2 weeks later, they see the same Lexus abandoned at the highway. So in their mind, someone either someone robbed uh, Jack and took the Lexus away, or Jack's been kidnapped and Lexus left behind, or Jack was arrested by the police. They began to make all types of scenarios in head why the Lexus was abandoned over there, a brand new Lexus. So some of those people approach Jack when Jack comes out of work and tell him, Jack, we found your Lexus near the highway. Lexus? What Lexus? Jack, the car you bought 2 weeks ago. Oh, that car, yeah. I'm over it. And they ask him, what do you mean you're over it? I'm over it, man. I'm done with that car. The rest looks at each other. They kind of are shocked, thinking, "What do you?" And they ask, "What do you mean you're done with the car?" And he told them, "Listen, guys, I have to effing put gasoline in that car over and over again. I'm sorry, that's too exhausting." But then he asked, "But Jack, isn't that the purpose of a car? That you have to put fuel in it? If it's an electric car, you need to charge with electricity. If it's a car running on gas or diesel, you need to put the fuel in it. It's a vehicle. Vehicles need to be powered." Guys, I don't need a lecture from you guys. I'm just done with the car, okay? Everyone's looking weird at one another because they were thinking, come on, is this guy serious? You buy a vehicle and now you get upset that you need to put fuel in your vehicle? What? Weird situation, right? Okay, just one question for you all. How many of you think Jack is in his right mind? Let me know in the live chat. How many of you think this Jack is in his right mind? Let me know in the live chat, please. Now, this Jack is not in his right mind. Absolutely not. Okay, let's go to another example now. Someone bought a new iPhone. And in many cases, when you buy a new iPhone, the phone's already charged for the most part. Someone got the newest iPhone. They bought the iPhone, they didn't rent it, they bought it. And they installed the phone, put all the contacts in it, began to video call, they installed YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all types of apps on it. Then, like a month later, um, you hear they're at a psychiatrist because they're so depressed, and you find out that they're upset that they had to keep charging their phone over and over again. It became a toll on them to always charge their phone. They got so upset with it that they had a mental breakdown. Even psychiatrist is thinking, what the heck is wrong with this individual? A phone, a smartphone is an electronic device. You need to charge it with electricity for it to work. Now, I gave you two parables, which are quite odd. I understand it. But understand, a car is a vehicle. A smartphone is an electronic device. They are both tools that have requirements. The requirement of a car is you need to put fuel in it for it to work. The requirement of the smartphone is you need to charge with electricity. Now, vehicles and devices have requirements. We understand that. But even us as human beings have requirements. For example, you need fresh air for your lungs. You need to sleep properly. You need food. You need water. Your body needs movement. As a human being, you have physical requirements and you have spiritual requirements. Simple as that. And listen, if someone would tell you that they're tired of eating over and over again, you wouldn't take them that seriously because human beings eat from the time they are born, and they will continue to eat physical food till the day their physical body expires. Someone cannot tell you they're done eating. It's too much for them. They can't handle it anymore. It's too exhausted to keep eating. While they have all their teeth in their mouth and the bud and they have all the organs still intact, but they're done eating. You may think that the individual is suicidal, that they need help immediately. Or what if someone tells you they're done sleeping? You don't think, what are you talking about? Okay, let's look at something. Unless someone tells you that they're done brushing their teeth because it's so exhausting. You're gonna think, what the heck you mean you're done brushing your teeth, yo? What the heck's wrong with you? Now, in these cases, Someone totally is not in the right mind because as a human being, you have requirements. You, as a human being, you have requirements. And the human inventions we use, like a car or a smartphone, also has requirements. But now, I'm heading somewhere with this. Just hold on. It should be clear now that requirements are a part of life. Whether you're dealing with an electronic device like a smartphone or a air fryer or whatever, or whether you're dealing with a vehicle like a vehicle like a car or a bus, or you're dealing with an airplane. An airplane's not a vehicle, I believe. But anyway, no, airplane's different. But anyway, when you're dealing with transportation, you have requirements. When you're dealing with device, you have requirements. With your own physical health, you have requirements. So requirements are a part of life. Simple as that. Now, if requirements are a part of life, and there's no such thing as life without requirements, is it then okay for people to get upset with you having requirements? I'm not talking about demands and preferences. I'm talking about your human requirements. Is it okay for people to be upset that you, a fellow human being like them, has requirements? Is it okay? Let me know in the live chat. Again, if you're driving right now, please pay attention to the road, please. Don't type then. Is it okay for others to be upset with you, a fellow human being, that have requirements? I'm not talking about demands or preferences. Those are subjective. What your objective requirements that you have as a human being. No, they shouldn't. But okay, another question. If you don't wash your clothes will become dirty and it'll begin to stink and all type of stuff. You can't complain about the dirty laundry if you don't put it in the washing machine to clean it. You can't complain that your car ain't starting if you didn't put the gas in it. You can't complain that you can't work with your mobile phone if you haven't charged it. You can't complain about not having fresh air if you don't get off your lazy ass and walk outside to get some fresh air. If you're in a wheelchair, someone has to help you, that's different. But even that case, you need to go outside to get fresh air. You can't stay in your own room, closed off, and complain there's no fresh air. Understand this. Mankind in this fallen state, they have the tendency to claim all gains and to individualize every blame. Think about it. If you don't charge your phone and the phone won't start, who's at fault here, the phone or you? You are. If you don't put gas in your car, not because you have no gas, because you just don't want or you fail to. You can't be upset with the car not working if you're not the one complying with requirements of the car. Okay, I'm getting somewhere. If you put your clothes in the washing machine, but you don't put any soap in it or laundry detergent, can you expect your clothes to come out clean afterwards? No, you can't. Okay, so you're gonna know where I'm heading with this. Hold on. So you mean to tell me that people in society, listen, society is the fear construct worldlings enact. Community are the people living somewhere. You mean to tell me that people in the community out there, forget about the term society, I'm talking about community now, they expect you to be of quality, to have quality behavior, quality attitudes. At the moment you don't give in to these demands, they ghost you, they unfriend you, they block you, or even arrest you and put you in prison. They don't give in to their empty claims. But that same community treats you as an option. Anytime you end up achieving something in life, they're right there to say, hey, but you wouldn't have come that far without us. Remember that. Remember who raised you. You didn't do it all by yourself. And they're correct. You didn't do it all by yourself. So when it comes to you becoming a medical doctor, becoming a lawyer, or becoming a famous singer, when it comes to all these benefits, they're there to demand their share. How come when you end up in a damaged, toxic way, suddenly it's all on you? They've nothing to do with it. Come on now. What I'm saying is, as a grown individual, as a grown man or a grown woman, you have the ability to self-reflect and admit things and improve, and you should. Nevertheless, you did not shape yourself. You were born as a little baby. You were shaped psychologically by the people around you, and based on how they shaped you, you begin to think as an adult. Now, as an adult, you should self-reflect and improve where necessary, but it doesn't cancel out that people shaped you a certain way. So if all the achievements in your life had something to do with the community around you, because you didn't do it all by yourself, how come every time you end up toxic or you end up damaged, it's all your doing? It's not doing with the community. So as you see over here, mankind in its fallen state, they have the tendency to flee, not to admit that they failed. Human beings in its fallen state, they want to flee and escape continuously. But if everyone flees continuously, then nothing will get done in daily life and we'll only have dysfunction after dysfunction. So, out of necessity, people get along in this thing called society, in which everyone gives in to certain restrictions without questioning them. One thing about society is you can only participate in it fully if you refuse to question it. That's the number one rule. Maybe not the number one rule. That's one of the main rules, in society. Don't question the restrictions. Because the moment you question the restriction, you realize, hold on a minute, it doesn't add up. What is this? Now, if it's so that human beings are prone to escape and flee, that means mankind is not stable. But we have to be stable to be functional. How come we're not stable? That's because of the fall of Adam, from whom we all descend. What is the solution? Christ, who became the second Adam. You have to be born again and then renewed in your mind. So, apart from Christ, the human species cannot function properly. The human species is doomed to dysfunction and misfortune. Apart from Christ, the human species is doomed to dysfunction and misfortune. Simple as that. So, based on this knowledge, is it proper to believe that you need to watch out for strangers? Let me know in the live chat. What do you think? Is it proper to believe that you need to watch out for strangers based on all this revelation? Let me know in the live chat, please. Let me know. Someone said yes in the live chat. Let's think about it again. Mankind is prone in this fallen state to escape and flee. Okay? You as an individual human being, you're not involved with all human beings at the same time. It's not even possible. If there are 2 million people living somewhere, you're not involved with all 2 million people at the same time individually. No. You are around those people, but you're not involved with each of them individually. You may be involved with maybe 20, 30 people in daily life. The rest are people you're not directly involved with. So if people tend to flee and tend to abandon one another, who is most likely to abandon you? The people you're involved with or the strangers that you have no involvement with? Who is most likely to abandon you? Those you're involved with, close to you, or the stranger you have no involvement with? Let me know in the live chat. All right. Intra AS says strangers. What does the rest say? Who's most likely to abandon you, the stranger or those you're closely involved with? Listen, a lot of the fact that one of you guys said strangers already says that a lot of you are still deep rooted and still have some issues with this hoax. Listen, what I'm saying. Strangers are not involved with you. Most of them don't even know you exist. And you know they exist. That's why they're strangers. As a vulnerable creature, you're not vulnerable towards them because they're not around. So their fleeing and escapism will not harm you or damage you directly. And here's another thing. If someone doesn't even know you exist, or if someone is not directly involved with you, how can they abandon something they're not involved with? How can someone abandon something they're not involved with? Can I abandon a job at a factory in Japan? No, I cannot, because first of all, I'm not living in Japan, and I'm not employed at a Japanese factory. So I cannot abandon nor neglect this Japanese company. Impossible, because I'm not in the situation. But if I work in a factory in the Netherlands and I just walk away one day without finishing my job, in this case, I neglected and abandoned the company. So the employer should be more concerned with me working there than with an employee at some Japanese company across the other side of the earth. Here's another thing. When people flee, it is because they don't want to face something. If a stranger is not involved with them, so what is there to flee from? It's the people you're involved with on a daily basis. There you will have to face yourself at some point. There you have to face their own dysfunction. There you have something you want to escape from or you want to flee from. So the whole idea that you need to watch out for strangers, it goes against reality. Now look, if someone is a child, they should be cautious of strangers because they're just a child. And there are a lot of creepy adults out there, absolutely. Some even want to harm children. Or if you work at a bank or whatever, you need to check the clients. We want to become a new customer of the bank. So just doing your due diligence on people is natural. Simple as that. However, the people who are capable of damaging you and harming you the quickest are those you are involved with, not the stranger. So, one of the biggest lies ever told is that you need to look out for strangers, you need to watch out with strangers. It's one of the biggest hoaxes ever made up. But it's a big hoax that many of us keep believing. Go back to the examples I gave in the beginning of this live stream. Someone buys a car and then they trash the car because they don't want the obligation to keep putting fuel in the car. Or the individual uh, who had a mental breakdown because they have to keep charging their phone. I know those examples are a bit silly, but let me tell you, that's the silly attitude of a lot of people out there. They come with restrictions, and the moment you don't meet those restrictions, they drop you like they don't matter, or they turn on you just to get rid of you. So this I'm not saying strangers cannot be dangerous. If a psychopath is walking in the supermarket and he's a stranger, he's still a psychopath. I don't care how nice he behaves. So I'm not saying strangers cannot be dangerous, whatever. But a stranger is less likely to have a harmful effect on you because they're not directly involved with you. Simple as that. For example, let's say I let's say I'm Satan and I want to bring down a company run by believers. Who am I going to use to bring down that company? A believer that's not delivered, who therefore has access to that company, or a devil worshiper who's into voodoo? If I'm Satan and I want to bring down a Christian company, who will I most likely use to bring it down? An undelivered believer or a voodoo devil worshiper? Who do you think I would pick? Let me know in the live chat. Let me know, please. Okay. I never mentioned. I never. Listen. I mentioned a devil worshiper who's doing voodoo. Of course, an unbeliever, and I mentioned undelivered believer. Inter Aya is right over here. As Satan, I would use the undelivered believer. Because think about it. It's a Christian company run by Christians. So if I want to bring down a Christian company, I need to use someone who's either an insider that's corrupt, or I need to use someone that has access to the company. The voodoo priest does not have access to that Christian company. There's no match. So for me to use the voodoo priest, it would be quite dumb. It wouldn't get anywhere. A, a fellow Christian or a fellow believer that's undelivered, I can use that one to gain access to that company and then destroy the company from the inside out, using that undelivered believer as a portal. So in this case, as Satan, I would use an I wouldn't use a stranger to bring down that Christian company. I would use an insider, of someone who's a fellow believer, either from the same church or from the same family, whatever. So understand this: those that are closest to you, I'm not saying they by default are dangerous or whatever. No, if those close to you are trustworthy because you all serve Heavenly Father, great for you. But that's an exception in the world. With most human beings being unstable due to the fall of man, that means that most human relationships are unstable also. Also, I think a lot of people don't want to admit. And here, and now I want to read something from scripture with you. Let's go to Matthew chapter 10, verses 34 till 38. Matthew chapter 10, verse 34 to 38. Okay? Let's read. There's something Jesus said, so pay attention. Think not that I come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's foe shall be they of his own household. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he that taketh not his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me. Wow. Christ is quite clear over here. All right? So, let's just verse 39 also. He that find his life shall lose it. He that lose his life for my sake shall find it. For verse 4, he that receiveth you receiveth me. And he received me, received to me, him that sent me. Okay. Let's go to Luke chapter 12, verses 51 to 59. Jesus said something similar over here. Okay. Suppose ye that I come to give peace on earth? I tell you, nay, but rather division. For from henceforth shall there be 5 in one house divided, 3 against 2, and 2 against 3. The father shall be divided against the son, and the son against the father, the mother against the daughter, and the daughter against the mother, the mother-in-law against the daughter-in-law, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And he said also to the people, when you see a cloud rise out of the west, straightway ye say the cometh shower. And so it is. Shower refers to rain. And when you see the south wind blow, you say there will be heat, and it come to pass. Ye hypocrites, ye can discern the face of the sky and of the earth. How is that you do not discern this time? Yea, and why even of yourself judge ye not what is right? Verse 58. When thou goest with thine adversary to the magistrate, as thou art in the way, give diligence that thou mayest be delivered from him, lest he hail thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and the officer cast thee into prison. I tell you, thou shalt not depart thence till thou hast paid the very last mite. Okay. What Christ is saying here is that he also tells us to avoid conflict as much as possible. He also tells us if there is conflict, resolve it peacefully, de-escalate, because if the conflict escalates, you end up dealing with the bad consequence of escalated conflict, whether it's through in a legal way with prisons or in other ways. Christ even said, you guys can predict the weather. How come you can't predict the attitude of other people? What Christ is saying is the following. You guys just want to have ease and get along with everyone and be left alone. This escapism is not realistic. The moment you value yourself, and because of that you serve me, you'll have people turning on you. And what are people turning on you? Those close to you. Now, Christ did not say that there's something wrong with having people close to you being good terms with you. He never said that. But he just said in this world it will likely happen as those close to you will turn on you. This whole thing of this whole restriction, don't talk to strangers, is something you say to a little child because they can't handle dealing with adults by themselves. But never talk to strangers, always beware of strangers, is never something you should say to a grown individual. Because as a grown individual, you have to talk to strangers. That's how you get your job. That's how you find your spouse that you get married to. That's how you do business with other people. Listen, human beings in this fallen state, they want to escape. Escape is not possible 24/7, so people develop unrest because of it. This unrest is toxic poison that develops in their mind and also in their body as a result due to all the stress. If they don't purge themselves from this unrest will end up killing them from the inside. So they'll collapse mentally, physically, and all of that. If you have a bunch of people all fermenting unrest, that's a bad idea. Now the solution is to serve the Heavenly Father, and then unrest will be burnt away by the presence of the Holy Spirit. Simple as that. Because most people in the world, most people, what I'm saying is, most people in the world are not serving the Heavenly Father, and even many believers were not even walking by faith. So a lot of people out there are generating unrest. And listen, you can't help generating unrest as a human being because of your fallen state, which is not your fault. But it is up to you to admit that you're in a fallen state and you need help out of it. But a lot of people don't even want to admit their fallen state. So you have a lot of people out there generating unrest. And because the unrest gets too much, they now are looking for a way to offload this unrest. And the easiest way to offload unrest is by taking it out on people who can't fight back or can't defend themselves. Whether it's children or prisoners or disabled people or foreigners who are not who don't have financial aid. I know it's dark and creepy, but that's how fallen mankind has been operating. The public, so the people around, all want to have ease and be unbothered and left alone. This is not possible in life. They develop unrest, and now the accumulation of unrest begins to harm them, and now they offload unrest on defenseless victims, and they don't have their ease and they continue. That's society. So what they call gang stalking, that's what society is. Society is gang stalking. Fallen mankind is this obsession with control. That's why fallen mankind has the tendency to put their name on everything. Listen, if I sail all the way to Brazil and I go into the rainforest and I see this big tree and I put a label, plastic label on the tree and write my name on it, does that automatically mean I own the tree? No. I just put a claim on the tree. Now, am I eating from the tree? Did I plant the tree? No, it's just a tree I encountered and I just put my name on it. Now, if I do that, people say, okay, Rashid's a bit weird, just putting his name on a tree. But what if I have a gun with me and I begin to shoot at everyone coming near to say, this is my tree, stay away. You're trespassing my property. Now, because people don't want to be injured or killed, they stay away. But does it mean that my claim is true? No, it's not. It's still an empty claim with no reality behind it. The only thing that's real is the violence I enact on people not agreeing with me. And that's how all property is. Now, look, if a human being lives in a building and they maintain the building, that is not proper for you to just walk into the building without their regard. You shouldn't do that. In that case, I agree. There should be a restriction. Don't just enter without telling them, without their consent. Unless they fainted in the house and the ambulance is to come, then you should break in to get them out. Unless there's domestic violence going on and children are being beaten and abused, then the police should intervene into the house. It's proper that if you live in a building and you maintain the building, that people just come in and out of the building just like that. That's different because you need that individual space for you to function. It's not personal space because we don't own any space because we're not owners. We don't own anything on the earth. We were born naked and we'll leave the world naked. We were born on the earth naked, we'll leave the earth naked, and Christ has to resurrect us. He's the owner, we're not, we only have possessions. If you possess a building, whether it's a house or an apartment, either because you pay rent or because you actually purchased it, it's proper that others don't just come in and out of it. That's different. But it doesn't mean that you now can do whatever you want in that place without any regard for the community. If you're in your own house that you possess and you're on the internet making hate messages, harming the community, yes, you're doing it in that house while you pay rent or whatever. But A, you're harming the community, so the community has the right to intervene and stop you. Simple as that. Or if you are beating your wife or beating your husband, abusing another human being, I don't care that you pay rent there. Others have a right to intervene and kick you out and make you lose that house, whatever. So all possessions we have are conditional. But it's a farm that you inherited from one of your uh, grandparents, or whether it's a car you purchased, or whether it's your mobile phone or clothes you wear, all property should be conditional. Because we were born naked and we will leave the earth naked. We don't own anything. The earth was set before us and it will remain after us. And only believers will be on the earth forever after this pause between their body passing away and Jesus resurrecting them. Okay? So there's no such thing as human ownership, and there's no such thing as unconditional possessions. All possessions are conditional. You can possess a knife, the knife you use to cut vegetables and meat and cakes. The moment you misuse the knife and begin to harm yourself, we need to intervene to protect you from self-harm. Or the moment you use the knife on others, we need to arrest you because you're a danger to the community. Just because the knife's in your possession doesn't mean you can wield if you will with that knife without regarding anyone else. So all possessions are Not only temporary, but they're also subject to conditions. Simple as that. So anyone telling you that they own something, they're out of their mind because they're not God, because only God is the owner of heaven and earth and everyone who's alive. And they claim that they have unconditional ownership. My God, they think they're gods. But anyway, so what I'm saying is, it's natural you consider other people, but we can't just go around putting our name on stuff and begin to use these claims to violate other people. Now, the government in their laws may give you an allowance to use violence to protect your claims, whether it's a piece of property or whether it's some financial entitlement or whatever it is. It's just an allowance because the government cannot stop human beings from being violent. They can only regulate violence. You know what I mean? Just because you got an allowance to use violence in some cases doesn't mean you're entitled to violence, because listen, you're not the owner of the earth. You don't even own yourself. God is the owner. You only have possessions. So you owe God to begin with. It's just like the example I gave. If I would go to South America, see a tree, put my name on it, and then use a weapon to scare people off, saying it's mine, you shouldn't trespass, I would be the madman doing that. And the only reason people get along with this is because they don't want to be injured. Look at society. Society is a bunch of empty claims that are protected with violence. Simple as that. Society is a bunch of empty claims protected by violence. By the way, can you all hear me clearly? I want to make sure because it seems like the Wi-Fi was fading in and out. Can you all hear me clearly? Let me know in the live chat, please. Thank you very much. Look, if you dwell in a building and you maintain it, okay, you're there. You pay rent, whatever. People should consider that. The condition is you don't harm the community and you don't use that place where you live to be of a negative impact. There should be conditions. But human beings have this idea that just because they pay money for it, that means they have a right to boss around about it. Some employers are there thinking just because they pay your wages at the end of the month, they have a right to control you and to exhaust you. What do you think they are? Money is invented by human beings. Money is a tool. Let's say currency. Money is currency in use. Currency is a tool to exchange goods and services, to regulate the wealth of the community. That's all it's about. So money is when we use currency to regulate the wealth of a community. That's all it is. So money is just a tool. That money is man-made and it does entitle you to control other people. But a lot of people think it does. Because they're out of their mind. Simple as that. Where am I going with this? Who are the ones enforcing empty claims at expense of other people? We're the ones doing it. It's our own species doing it. Correct. Evil spirits and Satan are involved as the head of the rebellion against Heavenly Father. But Satan and his fallen angels are parasites who lost. They're parasites. They can only feed off of our unrest as human beings. So us operating on unrest is powering evil spirits. So yes, if Satan and demons are doing bad stuff in the earth, they can only do it because human beings are behind the wrong they're doing, or human beings are behind them even being relevant. So you can't just only be upset with Satan and the fallen angels, and you don't check the human beings who make Satan relevant. So this tendency of not admitting your own deficiencies, not deficiencies of other people, but to project them on some strangers you turn into a villain, it's a common thing in human species. Humans turn Satan into a villain. Satan is a villain. Don't get me wrong, he is a villain, but he's irrelevant. We make Satan relevant by not obeying the Heavenly Father. So Satan and the demons are villains often used. So we don't have to face the people around us. Because if we have to face people around us, we have to face ourselves for why we're still around these people. Another example of um, not facing ourselves and the people around us is by believing that there are bad guys out there to harm us, and therefore we need to fight those bad guys. Listen, I never believed that terrorist groups like Al Qaeda or ISIS, or some even claim Hezbollah is a terrorist group, or Hamas, or whatever, the Taliban, even though Taliban is now governing Afghanistan again. When mainstream media begin to talk about Muslim extremists, I never believed Muslim extremists were a danger to me. Because when I look around me, it's my fellow human beings around me, close in the same country, that neglect one another. Am I saying that there are no terrorist groups out there doing harm? Of course there are. But the number one threat for any human being is neglect of those around them. Who gives a damn about ISIS? Who gives a damn about um, whatever group is out there that they claim is a boogeyman harming us? If your own people close to you are neglectful, come on now. But here's the thing: we want to believe that you need to watch out for strangers, because that means we can now project all the deficiencies and all the defects of our own people onto those strangers. And by doing that, we generate this false sense of security that makes us feel good about ourselves. So, objectifying the stranger as dangerous, that causes a sense of euphoria in us that makes us feel better about ourselves. But is this reality? No, it's not. Are there strangers out there who are dangerous? Yes, there are. There are strangers out there who are dangerous. Is every stranger dangerous? By the way, stranger is a relative thing. I may be a stranger to someone living in Korea, but I'm not a stranger to the people I went to school with, even though I'm not really involved with them anymore. So strange relative. Okay? Are there strangers out there who are dangerous? Yes. Is every stranger dangerous? No. The moment you objectify strangers or people who are not similar to you as a problem, you now made an excuse for yourself not to look at yourself and the people around you. So you begin to think that the people around you who are similar to you are all good and trustworthy. It's only those bad guys out there amongst strangers that you need to look out for. And this is one of the biggest lies ever told to people. But it's a lie many believers still believe. And it's not true. Is everyone close involved with you uh, safe? No. Is everyone close to you out there to get you, take advantage of you? No. Is every stranger out there dangerous and out to get you? No. Is every stranger out there safe to be around? No. So you need to learn to reflect on yourself and those around you and to examine what you're dealing with and then to act accordingly. But this requires effort most people don't want to take. They rather believe that there's an us and there's a them. There is me and there is others. There's an us, so people similar to me, and it's them. When those strangers, do something wrong, no excuse. When people do wrong to me, they must have a good reason why they behave that way. Or let's say your parents neglected you in a sense that they were emotionally toxic towards you, emotionally horrible towards you, they're quite insensitive towards you. They emotionally damaged you. Let's say your parents emotionally damaged you. There's no excuse for that. If your parents were emotionally incompetent, they should have gone to therapy and look for help. And the community around you, other adults, should told, hey, listen, you don't treat a child like that. And if your parents didn't want to change, they would have to put you in a foster family, whatever. That's much better for you. The community should have intervened when your parents were out of line towards you, and your parents were grown folks, should have faced themselves and looked for help. But you're an adult now, and you have to go into therapy for the mental issues that were caused in you by the people that raised you, both your parents and the community around you. Instead of you admitting that the community did you dirty by keeping you as a child in a bad situation that you couldn't help get yourself out of, instead of admitting this and see how horrible they've been towards you, you tend to say, well, I did get food on the table as a child. I did get clothes. I did have the roof above my head. My parents were not perfect, but A, nobody's perfect. And the community, well, it was my parents' responsibility to be better. They have their own lives, all that. You make all these excuses so you don't have to face the fact you've been damaged by those people. And those people never apologized, nor improved, nor make it up to you for damaging you. You don't even want to face that. And because you don't want to face that, you also will not face how damaged you are. But A, if a stranger collapses mentally in public, you obviously would have done a minute. How come this adult collapsed mentally? This adult was done dirty. Oh my God. When it's a stranger going through it, you can easily identify it and you will likely not even excuse it. But once it has to do with you, suddenly there are all types of excuses. Do you understand now why this statement that you need to watch out with strangers is so dangerous? Do you understand how dangerous this statement is? Because it suggests that people that are in what we call your inner circle are automatically safe and good. Now, if you have an inner circle of people that you're involved with and they're safe and good because they serve the Heavenly Father and they're committed to the Heavenly Father, okay, that's fine. But that's an exception. Most people in the world don't have that. Okay? So what I'm saying is we have to unlearn this bullshit that is strange to look out for. The Bible never instructs us to avoid strangers. The Bible even encourages us to talk to strangers. Of course, you should be cautious who you're talking to because not everyone is trustworthy, but the Bible motivates us to venture out and explore out there. The Bible never motivates us to stay in an inner circle and avoid strangers. That's how cults operate. A cult operates by isolating yourself from the rest of the human species. A cult will isolate you from the rest of the human species. While God wants you to be involved in the human species, but in a safe and wise manner. So the Bible is not telling you to just get involved with everyone. No. But it does tell you to venture out and meet new people in a safe and Christ-centered way. So God has instructed us, both through the Bible and also through his guidance of us in daily life, that we should be open to new people and new relationships. It doesn't mean that we will have individual relationships with everyone because that's not possible. I mean, I already explained that to you. You can't have individual relationships with 2 million people individually. Not going to happen. Not even 1,000 people individually. But we should be open to receive and get and be involved with strangers in a safe way. The Bible motivates that. God motivates that. But society tells you, look out for strangers. Stick with your friends and family. That's the most important. Do you see now that the ways of the world are contrary to reality? Let me know in the live chat. Do you see now how the ways of the world are contrary to reality? Let me know in the live chat. Let me know. So, just think about the following. If someone is a drunkard somewhere in the north of Korea, in the city of Pyongyang, let's say if a drunkard there in the north of Korea, in Pyongyang, and he is drunk, Can that drunkard harm me all the way here in The Hague in the Netherlands? No, he cannot. Is it okay for him all the way there in North Korea to be a drunkard? No. We shouldn't condone it, nor we shouldn't get along with it. He should look for help. Absolutely. But there isn't that much I can do about some guy in the North Korea being a drunkard. There are things I can do, but it's going to take time. And it's even a question whether it's going to reach the individual or the community that needs it. But if I have drunkards live in my street, okay, now I need to do something about that. But for me to ignore the drunkard across the street and to be so upset with the drunkard in the North Korea and say, well, what's going on here? But that's a common attitude in the world. They focus on strangers, they objectify and fetishize strangers instead of looking at the community around them. Now, if I act like my neighbor is the only thing that exists, that's also delusional. Because my neighborhood isn't the only thing that exists. I need to consider others outside of it too. But primarily, I mean that neighbors have to consider those people first. Simple as that. So why are people, and I'm talking about believers now, why believers keep believing the lie that you need to watch out with strangers? Because if strangers are the problem, that means we are not. If we're not the problem, you have to self-reflect and face the deficiencies and effects of us. So it's a way to avoid self-reflection. That's all it is. Stop believing this hoax that you have to look out for strangers. If people, okay, let's say now the mayor in your city said something horrible and you're so upset with it. You're upset, it bothers you, you have unrest. Will you likely go to the mayor and cuss him out in his face? Likely not, because on your way to the mayor, security will escort you. You may be arrested. Once you're arrested, you may get a criminal record and all of that. So you may not go to the mayor directly to call him out or to act out on him because of what he said that upset you. But that same unrest that you got inside of you by feeling hurt, if you don't pray and fast and process it, you'll end up taking it out on those around you, whether it's your wife or your husband or your children or anyone. Simple as that. Why? Because unrest harms you and those around you. Simple as that. And when it comes to people wanting to offload their unrest to continue, they're not going to offload their unrest where they can be challenged and put in their place. You don't see people offloading on police officers like that, because the police can either shoot them and they end up injured or dying, or they can be arrested and put in prison. But people are more likely to offload negativity on their children, or those or on homeless people, or on people who are disabled, whatever. Why? Because that is an easier outlet without any risk of it backfiring. People offload unrest on those that are accessible to them. They seldom offload unrest on the ones doing the actual harm to the community. So if you're around people who are escaping, so they operate in sin, who do you think is most likely to be the outlet of that sin or that escapism? You, who's around them, or some politician that lives in some wealthy neighborhood far away? Who most likely is going to become the outlet of their escapism? You, who lives nearby, or like that they have access to, or some politician lives in some ivory tower somewhere? What do you think? Let me know in the live chat. Indeed. So, because to go after the politician, you have to go to a lot of hurdles to get there. Likely you won't get there because of security or the consequence in between. So people in the world, they offload their unrest on those that are accessible to them. They don't do that quickly on strangers because you never know who the stranger is. Now, if the stranger is a homeless person, then they will do it likely because hey, there's no consequence coming back, most likely. So understand this. This obsession with offloading or this addiction to victimize is the effect of fallen mankind. Society is organized victimization. And because people don't want to become the next victim, they are pushed to comply and contribute to the ease. Simple as that. So understand, it's your own society, and the members of that society that are accessible, that have access to you, they are the ones you need to look out for, not the stranger. So why did I make this live stream? Because this hoax that you need to look out for strangers is something a lot of believers still believe and is holding them back. Now, don't get me wrong, I didn't say every stranger is safe. Neither did I say everyone involved with you closely is safe. I'm telling you, you need to learn to examine people for what they are. Amen? God is good. Are there any questions about this topic? Please let me know in the live chat, please. Let me know. Are there any questions? Let me know in the live chat, please. Why do you ask that question? Do I see strangers as God's children? It's kind of a weird question. Black, please clarify your question. And for the rest, are there any questions you guys have? Let me know in the live chat, please. I'm sorry, but that question already is a bit weird. Where to be safe? Most of the people I'm talking to here are strangers on this platform, and they get benefit out of it. If I didn't consider strangers worthwhile, I wouldn't even be making a live streams like this. And aren't we told by the Heavenly Father to be open to strangers, to share the gospel, and to minister unto strangers too? And other questions? Let me know in the live chat, please. Listen, stop idolizing strangers as a threat, and stop idolizing people you're close involved with as your safe haven. Examine people for examine people and see them for what they are and act accordingly, whether believers or unbelievers. This is what we need to learn. All right. I got any other questions? Thanks for being here. Keep agreeing with Christ. Let's see you next live stream. Shalom.